Today I'm going to be reviewing 3 flagship smartphones from Samsung that I've had the opportunity to use: the Note 10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, and the S23 Ultra. Now I'll touch on the S25 Ultra and the S26 Ultra, especially as compared to these 3 smartphones that I've had the opportunity to use. So I have a lot of creative process going on in my daily life, so I actually use my smartphones a lot. And in the tech world, obsessed with yearly upgrades and all of that, you have, this tag of Ultra, Pro, Plus, usually at the end of, the top of the end smartphones released by different smartphone companies. For Samsung, it's either they call it the Plus or the Ultra. We have the Note 10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, S23 Ultra. And I'm going to just be showing you how these 3 smartphones compare. The basic question I'm trying to answer in this video is, which of these Samsung flagships actually still make sense in 2026 now that we have the S25 Ultra and the S26 Ultra coming up? Talking about the design and the ergonomics, the Note 10 Plus actually remains one of Samsung's most comfortable designs ever. It's slim, it's light, it's elegant. Even today it feels very good in the hand in a way modern phones rarely do. Just look at it. The outline is just slim enough. The camera bump doesn't, bump into your hand or any of that. Everything is just where it should be. It actually feels very good to hold in the hand compared to the Note 20 Ultra or the S23 Ultra. So this actually feels very good to hold in the hand. And as I said, it's very light. This is actually very light in the hand. It's the lightest of the 3 smartphones. So talking about the design, the Note 10 Plus actually does well. It doesn't even feel as if it's, an aging phone. For the Note 20 Ultra, it went a bit bigger and heavier. It looks serious and premium, but, it sacrificed some of that effortless comfort that, I mentioned in the Note 10 Plus. It doesn't feel as good to hold like the Note 10 Plus. It's a bit heavier on the top side because you have that camera bump there. So it's not bad, but it's not as comfortable as the Note 10 Plus, and it's a bit heavier. The S20 Ultra even went perhaps a bit heavier than the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra. However, it really feels like you are carrying something very premium when you hold the S23 Ultra. It's a bit heavy, feels heavier than the Note 20 Ultra and the Note 10 Plus, but it feels mature in the hand. It has this squared off edges compared to the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra. As you can see, the sides are more flattened compared to the Note 10 Plus and Note 20 Ultra. Talking about the camera bump, this is actually a lens protector that I put on the camera bump here. It doesn't have that big camera bump that you have on the Note 20 Ultra. It just has camera rings. However, I put this, like I said, to protect the camera lenses. So it's not front heavy like the Note 20 Ultra. It just feels good to hold in the hand. Comparing the smartphones to the S25 Ultra or the S26 Ultra, the changes are just refinements. Now you have titanium frames, flatter edges, slimmer bezels, but nothing really transformative when you're talking about daily use. Talking about the display of the Note 10 Plus, the display of the Note 10 Plus still looks very beautiful. Yes, it's 60 Hz, but for watching content, reading, productivity, stuff like that, it holds up surprisingly well. Comparing that to the Note 20 Ultra, which actually now has the 120 Hz refresh rate, it's immediately noticeable. However, there's a caveat to that. For the Note 20 Ultra, you can only use the 120 Hz when you are on full HD plus. All the panels, that for the Note 10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, and the S23 Ultra are actually quad HD plus screens. However, the S23 Ultra just nailed everything. For the S23 Ultra, you get the full 120 Hz adaptive display. So it's not just 120 Hz, it's only 120 Hz when you need it. If you don't need it, if it needs to only display 60 Hz for what you're doing currently on the screen, it just displays that. So the scrolling feels very nice, very smooth. As you can see on the screen, the scrolling is just beautiful. If I were to choose the Note 10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, or the S20 Ultra, I could actually use the Note 10 Plus even at 60 Hz. it's not really something for me. But for you, if you think you the 120 hertz the deal breaker, then I think you should go for the S23 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra, but with a caveat. Talking about performance, the Note 10 Plus is clearly older, yes, but it's still, usable for everyday tasks, surfing the internet, using cameras, taking pictures, and all of that. I still actually edit stuff on the Note 10 Plus. I did a review of the Note 10 Plus. The review of that I did that time is actually still very, very, very much relevant even today, because most of the features are still very, very useful. I use my Note 10 Plus to edit photos on Lightroom. I use my Note 10 Plus to edit videos, 4K videos on Power Director on my smartphone, and it does wonderfully well with no issues. The Note 20 Ultra is faster, but where it suffers is actually in efficiency and thermal issues. It gets hot so fast. But of course, the S23 Ultra nails everything. The performance is so good. I edit, like I said, I edit all my videos, all my 4K, 8K videos using Power Director, and it does just well. The S23 Ultra actually has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, while the Note 20 Ultra has the the Snapdragon 865, and then the Note 10 Plus at the Snapdragon 855. However, my Note 10 Plus has the variant, the Exynos variants of the Snapdragon 865. However, when I push my Note 10 Plus to the extreme, it begins to struggle a bit, and you begin to feel that, oh, okay, probably the chip can't handle maybe things like 8K editing and all of that. But when you go to the S23 Ultra, it does everything easily, powerful, efficient, and reliable. The Note 20 Ultra kind of toes towards the Note 10 Plus a bit. It's not all that powerful compared to the S23 Ultra, but it's still a bit, just a little better than Note 10 Plus. The difference in performance between the Note 20 Ultra and the Note 10 Plus, in my experience, is not actually all that much. I don't game a lot, but for the little gaming I've done on the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra, the experience was more or less the same. So instead of asking the question which phone has the newest sensor, I think the real question is which camera system still produces reliable, usable, and professional looking results even in 2026. Going for the Note 10 Plus, the Note 10 Plus is a bit dated, but I'll tell you, it's not useless. It's still very useful. In good lighting, you will get very good results with the Note 10 Plus. Actually, the Note 10 Plus is kind of more superior than the Note 20 Ultra in that it has this dual pixel technology, which actually makes the autofocus very fast and very, very good. There's this thing about the Note 20 Ultra where it kind of loses focus, especially in the edges when you're using the main sensor. But for the Note 10 Plus, that issue is non-existent. Everything is sharp, razor sharp, and the autofocus is pretty fast, probably because of the dual pixel that it has. So if you have good lighting, your Note 10 Plus actually is sufficient for most of what you want to do. So it has a main sensor which is actually 12 megapixel, and that's where we have the dual pixel autofocus technology. It has the ultra wide which is 16 megapixel, and it has a 12 megapixel 2x optical zoom sensor. So it has 3 sensors. It also has a time of flight sensor just by the side there, which helps with autofocus and detection of depth and all of that. So like I said, if you're using the camera in good lighting, you pretty don't have any much issues when talking about the Note 10 Plus. The Note 10 Plus actually does very well. I shot most of my videos when I started as a smartphone videographer. I shot most of my videos using this phone, and I never disappointed. I've shot professional videos, I've shot hobbies videos, I've shot travel videos, and it does very well. And I edit the same videos on this phone, and it has never really disappointed. However, when it comes to night photography, this is where it struggles, especially compared to the Note 20 Ultra and the S23 Ultra. It begins to get a bit noisy. However, even in low light, the autofocus kind of actually does good. It's just when it comes to the quality, you have a lot of noise, and it might not be all that usable compared to the other phones. Now going to the Note 20 Ultra, it looks better on paper. You know, you have that 108 megapixel main sensor that you now have on the Note 20 Ultra. The sensor is a little bit bigger than the Note 10 Plus, but it's roughly almost still the same. It has higher resolution, definitely, and you know, improved dynamic range. But when you use it in practice, the autofocus, like I mentioned, can be pretty much inconsistent, perhaps because the dual pixel that was on the Note 10 Plus has been removed in the Note 20 Ultra. So you can get very good images with the Note 20 Ultra. The S23 Ultra actually comes with 4 lenses, not 3 lenses like we have in the Note 10 Plus and in the Note 20 Ultra. It comes with 4 lenses. We have a main sensor of 200 megapixel. We have an ultra wide of 12 megapixel, and then we have telephoto lenses of 10 megapixel each. We have the 3x telephoto, and then we have the 10x telephoto. The S23 Ultra isn't just sharper, you know, it has a 200 megapixel, which of course makes the pictures razor sharp. And you know, it's not just about being sharp now. You know, I mentioned something about consistency. The S23 Ultra is very predictable. You can have an idea of how your picture is going to look when you have the S23 Ultra, because it just delivers. It has reliable autofocus, you know, consistent color science, excellent highlight control, and it has very good details without, you know, so much of that over processing. You know, there's this thing about over sharpening with phones and all of that. It has very little of that compared to the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra. Most of the pictures I've taken, most of the videos I've taken with the S23 Ultra, I've pretty much not had to complain. And as a creator, I even hardly make use of the Pro Video you know, features that we have on this phone. And if I'll compare this with the S25 Ultra, the features we have on the S25 Ultra and, you know, the S26 Ultra coming up, you know, they're building, I feel they're building on the foundation that the S23 Ultra already started to build. And have I talked about the zoom capabilities of this camera on the S23 Ultra? You know, the 10x zoom can get up to 100 times zoom. We also have something similar on the Note 20 Ultra, which actually has a 50 times zoom on its telephoto lens. The S23 Ultra actually, you know, does well in, you know, using that computational photography to actually try and interpret what images are meant to look like at 100 times zoom. For video, I would actually still recommend the Note 10 Plus. It actually does well with video. It gives decent 4K. Of course, the stabilization is not as good as what we have in the Note 20 Ultra and the S23 Ultra. So when it comes to the cameras, basically for me, I think the verdict is that the Note 10 Plus is not bad for, you know, a camera phone. It's, you know, dated, but it's very usable. The Note 20 Ultra, it tries to, you know, make things a bit better, but the inconsistency really just beats it down. The S23 Ultra is the point where Samsung cameras actually became reliable, versatile, and future-proof. I feel from S23 Ultra upwards, you know, Samsung phones actually, when it comes to the camera, you know, they actually got it right, and it was kind of like just building on what the S23 Ultra already had. When it comes to battery, software, and longevity, the Note 10 Plus, you know, battery shows its age. It's not it doesn't last long. You know, I'm using this for almost 6 years now. I'm using this phone for almost 6 years. I've changed the battery, I've changed the screen, I've, you know, changed the case, the back glass, and all of that. And even with the battery I changed, the new battery that I have, it does maximum of maybe like 4-5 hours, like maximum in a day before I have to recharge it. For the Note 20 Ultra, the Note 20 Ultra actually does very well. Sometimes it can actually be a day, you know, on phone. I can use it the whole day and before I have to charge it at all. And same thing for the S23 Ultra. The S23 Ultra actually has a pretty comparable battery compared to the Note 20 Ultra. It's a bit better than Note 20 Ultra, but it's not miles better than Note 20 Ultra. For the Note 10 Plus, I would say it just proves how well Samsung built its classics. You know, it was one of the last notes that we had. The Note 10 Plus and Note 20 Ultra, actually last notes. And the design, the thought process behind it. And mind you, I didn't even talk about the S Pen. These three phones come with S Pens, and the S Pens, for me, really, the experience on the S Pens on these three phones are pretty much comparable. It's more nicer as you go from the Note 10 Plus to the S23 Ultra. But if you're just doing note taking, you might not really see the difference. They actually removed the Bluetooth capability in the S25 Ultra. You know, you can use the S Pen as a remote control and, you know, use it for a lot of, you know, gimmicky things when it comes to having fun with your phone and all of that. So if you actually own an S23 Ultra, you are not behind at all. You are exactly where you need to be. You can go for the S24 Ultra. It's not bad, you know, it does well. You can go for the S25 Ultra, but I tell you that the genesis of, you know, peak performance actually started from the S23 Ultra. If you're considering getting the Note 10 Plus, I feel, you know, if you're looking, if your budget is very tight and you can't really afford what we have in the Note 10 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra and the S23 Ultra in terms of price, you can still go for the Note 10 Plus. However, you might not be getting the updates that you need to get things like security updates. You might not get it anymore on the Note 10 Plus because it's not supported for security updates anymore. The Note 20 Ultra 2, I think it's getting to the end of, you know, security updates. The Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra actually don't receive any major updates anymore. However, for the S23 Ultra, it's still receiving major updates and it's going to receive it for a while. And even the security updates is going to receive for a long while. So the S23 Ultra, talking about updates, you know, it's still, you know, in vogue. But like I said, I feel the S23 Ultra is actually, you know, what really nails it. If you're tight on a budget, you can afford the S24 Ultra or the S25 or S26, go for the S23 Ultra. If your budget is really tight, you can actually go for the Note 10 Plus. And mind you, the Note 10 Plus still has expandable storage. Same thing for the Note 20 Ultra, they have expandable storage. So if that's a feature that is very important to you, actually, the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra are your best bets. The S23 Ultra doesn't have expandable storage, although you know, you can have with 512 gigabytes or 1 terabyte storage, you might really not need that expandable storage. But if expandable storage is important to you, the Note 10 Plus is, or the Note 20 Ultra is what you should go for. If I were to choose between the Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra, if I could find a Note 10 Plus that is in almost pristine condition, especially battery wise, I might actually go for the Note 10 Plus. My Note 20 Ultra, you know, developed green lines, you know, after some time. I just used it for a year and then the green lines started to appear on the phone, and so I could not enjoy the phone for so long before I got the S23 Ultra. So I'm actually selling off the Note 20 Ultra and I'm retaining my S23 Ultra, which is already doing fantastically well. And so that's the end of the video. If this helped you think beyond the spec sheets, you know, you can like and share and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please help us to get to 1,000 subscribers, and see you in the next video.